We generally assume that when we look directly at an object, we are taking in an unfiltered, objective broadcast of reality. We trust our eyes to accurately report the world as it exists. Let's test that trust. Look closely at these two suspect photographs. There is a specific, subtle mistake shared by both of these faces. Take 15 seconds to scan their features. Did you catch it? If they look normal to you now, watch what happens when we flip the images right side up. The eyes and lips are actually inverted. Your brain likely glossed over this terrifying error because of an evolutionary blind spot. Since human survival never required us to read facial expressions upside down, the mind saves processing power by ignoring the unnatural orientation of the features. This reveals a flaw in our perception. If the brain can hide a glaring physical distortion in plain sight, we have to consider what else it chooses to edit out of our daily lives. Moving from raw images to logic, look at this T-shirt. Based on what you see, how many total holes does it have? Most people focus on the jagged rips in the center and guess a low number. However, the structural count is 8. We start with the neckline, the 2 sleeves, and the bottom opening, which brings us to 4. Then we apply spatial logic. Because you can see the background through the shirt, those rips must exist on both the front and back fabric, adding 4 more holes to the total. Now try a rapid-fire reading test. Find the mistake in the sentence on your screen. The error isn't in the logic or the colors. It's the fact that the word spot appears twice in a row. This is cognitive autocomplete. To save energy, your brain shows you what it expects the sentence to look like, rather than the actual text. This efficiency shortcut explains why proofreading your own work is notoriously difficult. Your mind literally fills in the blanks, editing your perception before you consciously process the information. To see how easily you can abandon these default pathways, look at this tree. Somewhere in the branches is a hidden subject, a sleeping baby. You have to look past the obvious structure of the trunk and focus entirely on the negative space within the thin branches. Following the lines reveals the outline. The feet rest on the right, the arms are in the middle, and the head is tucked on the left. Spotting these details quickly requires cognitive flexibility. Studies suggest this ability to bypass default assumptions is a hallmark of a younger, more mentally agile brain, whereas a struggle to see the pattern indicates a mind more reliant on established, familiar structures. Beyond individual processing, we must also consider how social pressure affects what we choose to see. Look at these 2 lines. Which one is longer? Line A is undeniably longer. It is an objective fact. In the famous Ash experiment, a subject was placed in a room with 4 actors who were all instructed to confidently claim that the shorter line B was actually the longer one. Under the pressure of conformity, the real subject often doubted their own perfectly functioning eyes and agreed with the group's wrong answer just to fit in. This suggests raw eyesight is only one part of perception. Our social programming can force us to ignore objective reality simply to avoid standing out. Our perception of reality is a heavily edited rough draft, shaped by evolutionary blind spots, energy-saving shortcuts, and the influence of those around us. These tests serve as a barometer for how your mind processes that draft. Solving them quickly suggests the flexibility of a younger brain, while finding them difficult points toward a more mature mind that relies on obvious, comfortable assumptions. Being a sharp detective in real life requires active mindfulness to constantly question default pathways and look past the most obvious details. Ultimately, true perception involves trusting your own observations, even when they conflict with the consensus of the crowd. Which of these cognitive blind spots successfully tricked you today? Let us know in the comments and hit subscribe to keep training your mental flexibility.